Welcome to Out of the Box with Christine, the podcast for conscious entrepreneurs. Are you willing to step into your greatness? Are you ready to shine? Well, get ready, Truth Seeker. You're in for an amazing ride. And now, here's the host of the show, Christine Blosdale.
Welcome back to Out of the Box with Christine. I am your host, Christine Blosdale, your motivational multimedia coach. And today, get ready, folks. Buckle up your seatbelts because my guest is going to blow your mind when it comes to branding. And as I was saying before we hit record today, talking to Rich, I was saying that I know a lot of my clients are amazingly talented, gifted, personal development folk, coaches and consultants. And the one thing that they lack is proper branding and knowing how to market their services. So if you're someone who provides a service or a product and you're not getting the traction that you deserve or that you think you deserve, this show is for you. So today I am happy and honored to bring to the show Mr. Rich KOZAK, who is the founder and CEO of RichBrands. I'm going to throw out the website in a little bit for you, and the link will be in the show notes. But Rich is all about impact-driven branding, and his experience is vast. I'm going to have him explain a little bit where he comes from and how he can help you expand your brand and business through some very, very clever impact-driven branding. Rich KOZAK, welcome to Out of the Box with Christine.
Christine, it is a pleasure. And boy, if you're listening to this particular episode, get something to write with. You'll hear things you've never heard, and you might want to jot them down. I think they might be a blessing to your business and maybe your life.
I love, you're perfect for Out of the Box with Christine. The full title is Out of the Box with Christine, the podcast for conscious entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. And so much of what I see, that the work that you do, the work that I do, and the work that people that I like to work with and do co-ventures with are people that come from their heart space and their intention to help others create a better business, to help others, whatever it is, lose weight, get over their fears from childhood, all of that. And it comes from the heart. And so I'm super happy to have you on because this is something that's practical and people can actually use immediately in their business and their life as well. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your background? Matt, you are the man when it comes to branding. Talk a little bit about the experience that you've had over the last 40 plus years or something.
If doing it a long time is good, then yeah. So I am in my 45th year of defining and languaging brands. But I don't want to kind of take a high road here. I will roll off a couple of things just to document them. I ran a high-tech agency for about 18 years. I was head of new business. We had partners in 21 countries, different agencies that had been around a long, long time and did what we did. And we had a branding process that we taught all the principles. We got certified as global branding consultants, and we taught and guided companies what they needed to do with their brands to be successful at their business strategy. We also moved brands from country to country. So I was addicted. I loved it. Partners all over the way. It's like, but I was doing all-nighters at 50. I was addicted to my career and I loved it. But I chose to resign to reshape my life. I changed my prayers. Lord, don't think you want me to be a dead guy. I don't think this is kind of why I'm here. So show me what you want me to do. I'm ready. And years later, people started asking me to help them with their individual brands. And as I explained, I don't do that anymore. They explained that was not true. I had never stopped. I just wasn't charging for it.
Right.
That hurt my ears, but okay. So what I realized and started doing was that the process of helping an individual, and I only work with individuals now. Now, they might own a business, they might own a manufacturing company or a software integration firm, or they might just be a solopreneur, but they are more focused on the impacts they know their work or their gift or their calling could make than they are on, let's make $1 million. They just love what they do. They might have done it for years and they want to take it to another level. But like you said, people who aren't trained in branding, people who have come from their heart, often aren't natural self-branding people because for a lot of reasons. But so what I realized was when we give people clarity by having them have their heart tell them who they clearly see impacting and what the highest level impacts are, once you have that clarity down, you can, you'll have to take it from me. I've been doing it a long time. You can define the brand you must become to make those impacts. So it comes from inside you. I don't make up things for people. They don't say, oh, that's great language he gave me. It sort of came from them. I might have helped, but that's the gift. Seeing what possibilities people have in their work or in their art is part of the gift. And I used to think it was my skill. It's a gift. And I'm very, very thankful for it. And that's why what I do now doesn't feel like work. It feels like love. So 7 years I've been doing just one-on-one with individuals. And I'm going to be doing it a lot longer, Christine, because honest to God, it feels like love. It does not feel like work. It was work at the agency. I'm going to tell you, there was a lot of pressure, a lot of people. Now it's just, I feel like get to do this. So when I say to somebody, they expect me to charge big, big money. And, and I say, well, you want to hop on a Zoom call and talk to me about you? And they're like, really? But I do, and you know how the world is. There are no coincidences. We come into people's lives for a moment or a season or a lifetime. And I've been helping brands launch now and holding my brand behind the curtain. Oh no, I've now said it on a public media. But I'm about to raise the curtain and show up so that whomever the man I work for wants to put in front of me, they can find me, because that's not up to me.
Oh, wow. I just got goosebumps on that, which is Christine's little, technology, that it's coming from a very, very high place. And that is such a great space to work from, because like you said, it's not work, it's love. And seeing the lives that you can change and the ripple effect of that, because again, it's not just your client that you're talking to, right? And impacting their bottom line or their business or their income. What you are doing in because of your skill set, you can see things that other people can't, and you can see things that the actual client can't. So it's the same, like when I work with people, and I do all kinds of multimedia with them. I try and get them to get their message out to the world, right? I try and say, let's get you on video because video is king. And when I'm working with them, they can't see how glorious they are. They have an idea. They go, well, I'm really good at this. I'm really good at that. I must have a skill set that I can help people with, but they don't see the big picture. And that's what is important about an expert like you coming in, and you're like, oh, you have you have something that you didn't even know existed, and then how to draw that out of them. That's a very important skill set, to be able to pull that out of someone. And you need to do that by talking to them, like you said, with those Zoom calls, right?
Yeah.
And to know if you want to work with them, of course, as well.
There are two things there that people don't focus on because they haven't learned how important it is. Sometimes they can get it intuitively, but consistent language that transfers energy. We'll take those one at a time. You know how people that respond differently all the time are hard to trust because you never know what to expect? Well, brands are like that too. if they say they do this and then they say the same thing a different way, you're like, what do they really do? So brands do that to themselves by jumping to marketing with 6 different people, and it looks like a hodgepodge, and people, what did you do again? Yeah, they create confusion or misinformation. They waste money in marketing before they create consistent language that transfers energy. But it's not just about sitting thinking up words. Oh, that's a good one. Let's use that. It starts with the vision of impact. And without going down a rabbit hole, here's one of those write this downs. The clarity with which a brand speaks. And that means everything. Things come out of your mouth, the way you show up, the way you hold yourself, how you look, the clarity with which a brand speaks shapes its impact. So the clarity that's missing most of the time when a brand falls flat, in other words, somebody goes like, oh, that's nice, that's fall flat. in case you hadn't experienced it, and we've all experienced it, but is a clear picture of what the brand sees for the person they're talking to. So if I say to you or somebody who's listening, if I said to you, this is what I see for you, we've looked at what you do, I've heard your heart, this is what I see for you. You might not be able to see this for yourself, or you might think it's difficult, or you don't know how you get there. Take my arm, I'll take you there. Been there before. This is what I see for you. The clearer that picture is, the more compellingly magnetic the brand is. When it's missing, it's a trombone. Wah, wah. Okay, it's not going to happen. The brand falls flat. So that's the first clarity. Second clarity is internal, thinking clearly about those types of people that you can impact when your brand is thriving. You're doing it, you're speaking, you're writing, you're teaching, you're coaching, you're doing masterminds, whatever you're doing, it's thriving. Whom do you clearly see? And your heart will tell you that. When you write that down and write down those impacts you clearly see making when you thrive, the process of impact-driven branding is simply a 7-step process that defines the brand you must become to make those impacts. It's not fake. It's not outside of you. It started with you. Those impacts came from your heart. We're just getting consistent language that transfers energy to pull you along and turn you into a magnet. It's like, seriously? Yes, seriously.
Yeah.
I don't get excited about this at all. It's like I have no passion.
No, you have no passion behind it all. But you said it's so true, because, confusing the audience or confusing a potential customer or potential client is what 99% of entrepreneurs and business owners do. Because if you've ever talked to someone, like I'll go, wherever you're at a cocktail party, or you're, I don't know, somewhere, and you've had this before where somebody says, so what is it that you do? Because that's a common question. What is it that you do? You're interesting. And I love it when people say, oh, what is it that I not do? I do everything. I do a little bit of this. I do a little bit of that. I'm also this, I'm also that. And on the weekends I do this. Well, that is so confusing to someone that they don't know what it is that you do. You're all over the place. And I got this message today. I was looking at something earlier about the importance of your of staying away from that creating confusion, right? And having a direct call to action, and not giving people a bunch of different options and choices and things. Well, you could do this, or on Mondays I do this and that. And it reminds me of, well, you're in Los Angeles, and one of my favorite places that I used to go to when I was in Los Angeles was Jerry's Deli. Hey, go to any deli, but Jerry's Deli is the place, right? Yeah. But the thing was with Jerry's Deli is that when you open up the menu, there's like 1,000 different choices, right?
That's right.
And what would happen is that I would get information overload, Every time I would go, and it would just be, I would always order the same thing. You know what? I'm going to have a potato pancake with applesauce and sour cream and matzo ball soup. That was my deli thing. But they had 1,000 different things, right? And it's fine for a restaurant, but for a business, that can wreak havoc because you're confusing people to the point where they're not going to take action because there's too many directions. It's like, come with me. You can either go left or right or up or down. And they just go, I'm not going anywhere because I don't know where to go.
The languaging of all the things you do, we have a phrase for that in the agency, the business, called dancing on the piano. Well, we can do your annual report, but do you need a website? Because and then it was a rat-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, you're like, or you're a massage therapist. We do Thai, we do hot stone, we do the one with the elephant, we do the thing with the left with it's like nobody wants to know that. You know what they want? They want relief, but you're not even talking about relief. So let's talk about language that creates energy, words that transfer energy. If you say to me, Rich, you're a branding consultant, you actually do, which a lot of people say. If I said to you, well, Christine, you see, I manage the iterative continuum of the 31 brand steps of, it's like, you'd be out to lunch. You'd be thinking about something else. If I sense that you kind of need inspired, I might say, well, people say I put rocket fuel in their branding gas tank. And you'll go, or you won't. Oh my God, I want that. What is that? What we've done just now is we've created an intangible brand promise. What the heck is rocket fuel and branding gas? But those words transferred a lot more energy than the 31 iterative, whatever I said, steps of the branding continuum. If I felt you were higher level, I would say, well, what we stand for is creating impacts. We help individuals create impacts and abundance on purpose. Now, for those people that are vision driven, they're like, oh my gosh, I don't even know what that is, but I like, so that language must be congruent with the brand champion, your brand. It's got to be congruent because that's one of the 4 things that make a brand come alive. Congruence with the heart of the founder or champion. But words have power, and you can say, we do yoga in a different way. Oh, that's nice. Or you can say, we're experts at body intelligent yoga. Oh my, I
what's that? I want that.
Okay, I gotcha. So you understand, it's like, but it's yours. You don't feel dirty or out of congruence when you say it. Well, I'm the grasshopper of the green grass. It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you don't have to put on some superstar suit or some clothing or some exterior brand thing that you have to be. You. That's the beauty of it. You get to talk about your impacts and your vision and what I see for you. It's so much. I just love the space, and not everybody's like that. Some people go, hey, I got this thing. It's going to make $1 million. That's wonderful. So, can you help me with the brand? Well, let's move forward. You made the $1 million. Now what? What do you mean? You made $1 million? Not my client.
Yes. Well, and you said something that was really important. It's the importance of language and the power of words. And this is something that as oh my goodness. Well, I was a writer for America Online for several years, and I had a certain amount of, inches where I had to make an impact and write. Here's the thing, my audience, because it's always about knowing your audience, right? Like how to speak to somebody or to a group. But my audience was they were like, write for like a 9-year-old to 90-year-old. And I was like, what? But there's a way to do that. There's a way to, it's almost like the Shrek movies, kids love them, but adults love them too, because there's a little thing that will go over a kid's head, but the adults will get. So it's having that ability to do that. And so I was trained on that kind of thing.
Wow.
Then I went into radio broadcasting, and I was a producer for many years at Pacifica Radio, and then an on-air host. So I was very careful with my writing when I was producing, very careful with the language that I used, very, very thoughtful on that. And that was just from being at America Online. So then writing and producing. Then when I got to be an on-air host, man, when you got that on-air light and it's going out to hundreds of thousands of people, all of a sudden, you better be aware of how you're speaking. And what I found, Rich, what was my guiding light, literally when the light went on, was I pretended like I was in my car listening to me. And what would sound really good, but also I tapped into the audience. And so as a guest, as a host, and I had guests on like I'm having you on right now, I was able, because I put myself in their place, right? I didn't just talk to hear my voice. I hate that. People just talking just to hear themselves talk. But I put myself in their place. And when I did that, the questions that the audience would be asking in their heads, I got like it was some kind of magical download. I may have known the answer as the host. I know the answer. I've got an information sheet right in front of me. I know, but I would ask the question of the guest that I felt the audience wanted to know.
I love that.
And that just comes from, that comes from experience, but it also comes to listening. We like to talk as coaches and consultants and speakers. Of course, we like to talk, but I find that it's really the skill set of listening. And I mean, really listening is something, it's an art form that not a lot of people have tapped into, but it's very valuable and very important. And I would think as a branding expert, that's something that you've also developed as well.
One of my mentors, who is a trainer of neurolinguistics programming for decades, said to me, I want you in my next training to learn neurolinguistics program. Well, she goes, you're going to have to trust me. You're already a world changer, but having this tool set and skill set will take you to a whole nother level that you have no idea exists in the way you listen and the way you speak to others listening. I'll say, between you and me, I've never had a problem speaking to my speaking. Speaking to other people's listening is a little bit of a different workshop. And what I learned was, I could do a better job. And there were lots of different learning modalities that once I was aware, speaking became more focused on all those listening modalities. And I listen with different ears. So in what I do, because it's impact driven, I find, and people actually have told me, I put down on my desire brand triangle, connecting, because I connect with people, they connect with me. And people told me time and time again, it's like you connected with my heart. And I'm like, I cared it so much, I changed it to heart connecting, because I believe it's something that's necessary for me to make my impacts, but it seems like I already do it. So listening, you heard me say, have your heart tell you what impacts you clearly see making and on whom, because those are the ones you really want to make. And I mean in your mind's eye, not in your head, because we can all make lists, but your heart tells you. Once you're there, that's a very special place. And I would suggest that maybe a higher power might have put those in there, and that you listening to them is a good idea, and yes, that we get to do that work. But I won't go too far down that road, but I do believe that. And so, wow, if we can help each other, we're a coach or branding consultant or whatever we are, help each other as an act of love, because we're only here for two reasons: love each other and praise God, and everything else is man-made. If we can help each other in that love area by helping each other step into our possibilities and step into the purpose of why we're here in the first place, what a great place this world gets to be.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And that is something that, again, the energy because it's all energy, right? Everything we're doing right here is energy, but that energy of that rocket fuel that you're talking about, helping someone you find the language, find the tools to express what it is that they do so that they can impact more people, and that ripple effect so that they can impact more people. And then those people can go on and impact other people. That energy, if it comes from a place, not a desperation space, because we all can smell desperation. We can, I need more sales because, my mortgage is due, and and you can feel it. You can see it, you can smell it, you can touch it. And so and this is a different type of sales, but when I'm trying to talk to my fellow programmers, let's say if it's a fund drive and they're trying to, raise money, I said, nobody wants to jump on the Titanic as it's going down. So whatever you do, don't say, nobody's calling right now. Oh my God, nobody's calling right now. You need to pick up the phone, and you need to. I was like, nobody wants that. I said, what you can say instead of, because in the phone, because if there's nobody calling, if there's nobody pledging or whatever, there's nobody ringing up to book, sessions with you if you're a coach. Instead of saying, oh my God, I have no clients, or oh my God, nobody's calling, that panic, instead of that, what you can say is, if you're calling in right now and you're put on hold, just be patient. It means that our phone answers are trying to get to your call, and they're going to get to your call right away. Or if you're trying to book a session with me and you see that my calendar is filled up, just be patient. Pick the soonest date that you can, and I will be getting to you. And I promise I'll be 100% focused on you. That is so different than, oh my God, just call me anytime and I'll work with you and I'll do whatever I have to do. I'll meet you in a dark alley, type of thing.
And you've done two things in creating energy and a magnet. You've created scarcity in just the language that you use. If our calendars, if you see our calendars, and caring, you've given yourself credit for something that might be necessary as a coach. That nobody wants a coach that doesn't care. And I will focus. Your caring language that you use told me that I hope I do get her, because I think she'll really care about. Like, wow, nice. That's just beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
Somebody, we were talking about smelling inauthenticity, and I think you probably see a reflection in my glasses. I was working on testimonials today with people, and somebody used the word authenticity, and here it is. It said, getting crystal clarity for my brand was life-changing. It enables me to now serve people at a much higher level. Rich connected with my heart, there it is, and opened my eyes to what I really needed to know to grow with velocity. This is it. Amazingly, the impact-driven branding process opened up my own authenticity. What? That's like, wait a minute. What that means is nobody slapped a brand on me and said, go be it.
Amen.
From inside. Now they get to be themselves and create a platform that is way more abundant and get to the money faster, because they're impact-driven. So their language is focused on the care-abouts of those audiences they really want to impact. So they're going to attract them faster, get to the money faster, and create a platform that allows them to step into their purpose much more easily. Look, our businesses are not why we're here. They're just not.
Exactly.
It's a vehicle. And so if we can use, branding to create an abundant platform that's purely us, and it makes it easier for us to step into our purpose, praise God. And you know what? We count those. So there's another one. Oh, we count this, our new marketing metric. People come to our one-day workshop and they go, see my brand come alive on paper right in front of you. This is amazing. Praise God. There's another one. We literally count them.
I love it. All right, let's get into the class. Rich, let's get into class, because I could hear the audience. That's a weird skill set. I can hear them going, okay, I like this. I like him. I like the idea of this. This is good. I feel good about this. My heart feels good. My tummy feels good. My mind feels good about this. But where do I start? And a lot of people I know, because there's a lot of designers out there, there's a lot of graphic artists and things like that. A lot of people, they spend a lot of time focusing in on their logo. and,
Ah,
and and it's like, all I need to do is throw 5 million gazillion dollars out and get that logo. Now I like a good logo as well. I think that's cool. But why don't you, if you don't mind, let's talk about where to start. Is it the logo? Is it defining the language first? Is it a good headshot? But I am a fan of a good headshot. I got to say, with this stuff with the selfies, if you're a public speaker and you're giving me a selfie, like, or no, okay, come on now. But you teach the class here, will you?
have some idea who you're talking to. I have great headshot stories, but let's start with that logo, and then I will deal with your real question. Logo. At the end of every 1-day workshop, I always, actually the half day, so it's almost free. I do a 10-minute training on logos. So I'm going to do it in 30 seconds. Ready? Okay. 5 acid tests of a good logo. It includes the brand name. Says what it does. Easy to say, easy to spell, easy to remember. Has legs. Has legs means lots of places to go. What do you mean? Bobby's 5-minute pizza delivery says exactly what it is. No legs. Can't go anywhere. 5 minutes pizza. You know what you're going to get? No legs. But if you tagline it, the first step in your future culinary, life-changing culinary experience, Bobby could be doing the White House next year. You just gave it legs. Okay, so got those 5 acid tests. So when do you change your logo? Only 2 times. There's only 2 times. One is you got acquired and you have to. The other is, and listen up, write this down, something significant has evolved in the value your brand brings to the world, and you're going to change or evolve the logo or your look to take advantage and call attention to it. That's the only time you should change it. If you have no changes and you're just going to change a logo, waste of time, big waste of money, and a little bit confusing. Why'd you change your logo? Oh, the boss wants. Forget all those. I mean, I have a whole list. You know, you can make your list. Okay, that helps on logo. Honest to goodness. And do you do it first? Well, a logo is 2 things. It is a recognizable trademark. It says this stuff, this product, this service, this came from this source. It marks the source, like a cow, brand on a cow. Hey, Bobby, that cow is yours. This heifer over there is mine, you know, because you're looking at the brand. You know where it came from, right? The second thing is it starts the messaging hierarchy. If there's language on your logo, it gives you the opportunity to reinforce a unique and defensible positioning that you've cracked. Positioning versus competition, whatever people think you're competition, that you have crafted after you looked out there to see what people find when they look for what you think you have. What do they find, and how do you fit against that, and how can you be unique against that that's true to you, not fake, but true to you? So I'm saying this easily because I do this every day, and it's people get overwhelmed. Oh my God, I don't know. Hey, it's just a process. Seriously, it is just a process. But does the logo come first? No. I sat on the board of directors of the American Marketing Association International. It's volunteer, but I was elected and I sat there for 4 years. You'd think that I would revere marketing and say, get out there and do that marketing. I'm here to tell you, marketing at its best, and I mean that with honor to marketing, is the execution of an excellent branding strategy. Branding comes first. Who you are, what you stand for, those things. Like I said, we help individuals create impacts and abundance on purpose. Who says that? Well, I say that. So to know clearly what you stand for and say, you know what, this is what we see for you, and have them go, because their antenna are out. When you get there first, then execute. Now you can write copy. Now you can create a message hierarchy. Now you can define a logo. So write these words down. Creative project brief. That's it. 3 words. Creative project brief. What that means is, if you are just about to spend money on any kind of a creative project, from I need a flyer to hand out on Thursday at the Team Referral Network big event, or I need to totally redo, I need to do a website from scratch for my new brand. Whatever it is, content, write a book, whatever it is, creative. It's a document that says, it's a brief, and it doesn't have to be, you know, too brief, but it says, okay, what's the project? Who's it targeting? What are the objectives of this project in priority order? What does it have to do? How are we going to meet those objectives? Like, are we going to put QR codes in the book so that people watch videos and get to my heart? Or are we going to give them a little test at the end of every chat? You know, what are we going to do to make sure this book or this ad or this, you're going to put an audio file that's 1 minute and 20 seconds on the About Us page of your website. What is it supposed to do? What are its purposes? Well, you write that objectives and you make sure you reach objectives. Now, you've already done brand development, so what are you using? You're using language that you've already developed. And you have this list of characteristics that you must get credit for to make your impacts, and certain expertises that you've named in unique ways, body intelligent yoga. I'll give you a couple, one client who's you could call her a bookkeeper, but she helps people create the tech stack. So like, wait a minute, that's not a bookkeeper. So her column 1 category of expertise is simplifying the critical tech and accounting decisions required for your company to reach millions. You know, the woman speaking at the International Conference of Business Growth tonight is an expert at blank. Simplifying the tech and simplifying the critical tech and accounting decisions required for your company to reach millions. Like, oh, I think I need to talk to her. Who came up with that language? Well, we did, she did, I did, but it had to do with how do we say it in a unique way so that you show up uniquely and defensively versus all those other people that other people think do what you do, because they don't. So the brand definition comes first, and then you would be amazed at how easy it is to execute marketing execution elements, no matter what it is.
After you have that key, after you have that down.
Language is in place, the brand is defined,
yeah.
You have message hierarchy and hierarchy order. You have all this language, and this is going to sound like an exaggeration, but it is not. When you have clarity baked into your brand and you've defined and languaged your brand uniquely with consistent language that transfers energy, everything the brand says and does aligns with those impacts that started the process. I don't know if you get chills down your spine. I do. And I watch it happen, and people get delighted, and it's all purely them. They never feel inauthentic. It's always, wow. One of the ladies today, she certified breathing therapist out in a desert community outside of Los Angeles. She said, the work of RichBrands is masterful. I have seen my desired brand, she never used that term before, come alive and expand worldwide. Everything we say and do is aligned with the impacts we want to make. The impact-driven branding process is invaluable for guiding our brand. It's like, who talked? She didn't talk like that before, but she does now. And nobody pinned her down, and you just get used to it. And so now you can literally champion, guide your brand, because it's your brand. It was her vision, It was her heart, her skill set. She just now, instead of having a brand called, I guess I can't say it, having whatever it was called before, which was, I would call it a very parochial, local kind of name, is now called the Breath of New Life. Relief today, transformation forever.
Oh, yeah. And
No, with that,
with that, with just those words and the energy behind those words, you've got a book, you've got a course, you have a speaking, topic, you have coaching, you have a studio,
Her speaker one sheets are on the Mary Speaks page of the website. Bam, download the one sheets and they get a speaker one sheet and a media guest one sheet. It's like she steps right into the desired brand, and all she gets to do is impact people's lives.
Well, and like you were saying too about the bookkeeper, instead of saying, I'm a bookkeeper and I help you with your accounting and with what you had worked on with them, and that you take the listener or the viewer or the potential customer or client, you take them on a little mini journey with a few words that are carefully selected so that they can see the potential of working with this person.
Watch out, you may get a job. I'm gonna offer you a job.
But that is powerful. And I would say too, like if someone, and I've come across a lot of people who are wonderful experts in their field and they want to write a book. And I would say one of the things that I would tell them before they write that book, and especially name the title and subtitle, is to come see you, because
take advantage of that free Zoom call, like now. Here's what I'll send you, save you a little bit of time.
Yeah.
You have choices with a book. Ready? I'll make this really clear. Ready? I've got a book. Got it? Or a book is a stake in the ground that moves a brand forward, and you get to choose. So if a book is part of a calling or your future or a direction or an impact, it needs a context, which means it needs a brand for it to create a stake to move that brand forward and create momentum. So it either has a context or it doesn't. And you might already have a brand, and many people do, but they get to that point where they want to take it to another level, like a book, and they don't know how to build those stairs because nobody ever taught them, and there are very few people who teach what makes a brand come alive so that people can do it themselves. They just want to sell stuff, including branding.
Oh, you nailed that. Yeah.
They want to tell you that, that logo is getting a little bit long in the tooth. It's like, bullshit. Sorry.
It's all right.
Oh, this is podcasting. There's no controls. Okay, that's good. Yeah. I'll try not to do that anymore. Okay. But the world uses the word branding to sell marketing services. This will be good for your branding. Hey, this will make your brand. If they had to light a match and say, what makes branding, what makes a good brand come alive, they wouldn't know. What are the steps that the brand has to go through to make sure that the brand is congruent? They don't know. But that's just one of those. Branding is this buzzword that everybody uses. Nobody takes the lid off of it and says, look, it's just a process. You do the steps and look what happens.
Well, so much of what people think branding is, colors, like a color palette and a color palette in design, and the use of words and carefully selected wording is sort of left out of that. It's about the design. And yes, I mean, I appreciate a nice design just like as anybody else, but there needs to be a story, or there needs to be a feeling behind the branding. And branding is not just a logo, as we were saying. It's not just the logo. It's important, but it's not the end all be all.
So I've had several clients who created a brand that never existed before. Let me see if I can give you an example. Fellow from the IT space who realized in 2014-15 that a lot of things were moving in the same direction that will converge to destroy small businesses because of internet crime. And it's happening now. Data breaches, the big one in the last, there were 261 million ransomware attacks. That's a lot last year. Like, whoa. And he created a business that named Compliance Specialists, because the problem occurs for a small business when they get breached, they don't know it. 2 years later, it turns out that somebody's information got stolen from their computer and sold on the dark web, and it comes back to them. They get publicly notified and they're fined because it's a law. There are laws in New York State and Virginia and California. All states have laws, federal has laws, organizations have, they get fined, and then the lawyers are waiting, and depending, they get sued. Now they lost their house, and the 3 or 4 people that work for them, or 10 people, are out of employment, and it all goes down the hill. And he saw it happening. And so being in compliance with data security and privacy laws means if anything like that occurs, when somebody tries to sue you for negligence, you're not negligent. Even if you've been paying a little bit at the time to automatically get things in place to be in compliance with data security laws, even if you're a one-person shop like I am, I'm my own client's client, and I'm paying him so that I am totally in compliance, and I know what that means, I know what it takes, and I can speak to it. I'm safe because nobody can sue me for negligence. I'm not negligent. I have a printed data security policy manual. It's like, you know what I mean? And so he saw that. But little companies didn't think they were vulnerable. So in doing the logo, we had to begin overcoming the lack of vulnerability awareness. And so we tagline Compliance Specialists, protecting you to grow. Because
I like that.
Not a hobby, wants to grow. Protecting you. Why are you protecting me? Oh, glad you asked. You know what I mean? It's like, you got to open the door because they're not paying attention. They're going, I'm too small. You're not too small. And he knew there would come a time, those computers and those internet criminals, they don't care how big you are. They're just going to find computers they can get into and see what they can find.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so what a blessing. 1 to 10 people. He targets the smallest US businesses. That's US because that's what his purview is. And I realize you're coming out of Australia, but it's fun. I mean, go there and you can learn a heck of a lot no matter where you are. Europe has some of the toughest data security laws. It started there. They kind of set the pace, and then the United States kind of like hurried up. So just the Compliance Specialists USA.com, Compliance Specialists USA.com, and
Wow.
check it out. I mean, you'll
love
it's like
that.
Yeah, awesome. And it's it's a wake-up call. And it literally will save people from business killing events.
And that is, that's money in the bank right there as well. It's protecting yourself and being aware that things change quickly. So I love that. I do love that tagline because it opens up a question for people to go, am I in danger? I didn't know that I needed to think about this as well. But the targeting, especially, yes, in the US, and it's smart because there's a hell of a lot of people in the US. There's a lot of businesses in the United States. I mean, that's a fantastic opportunity for him.
Economy, it's our really small businesses, and yes, you take a big chunk of that out, and a lot of people are in a world of hurt. You asked a moment ago, you said, well, let's get to that. Let's get to the details. Those other areas you mentioned, logos, that's huge. You want the other ones? Because you already know them.
Yes.
Content. Oh, whoa, what do we post? Content, right? What content? What do you think our clients, would like? That whole area, content. The other one is messaging. Messaging is not content. Messaging are things said with knowingness or gravitas that gain the brand attention as a voice of trustable information. So it's those messages and which one comes first, then which one comes next. And then how do you even figure that out? If you want to do it quickly, if you take the top 7 message hierarchy, number 1 message overcomes the barrier. What barrier? In compliance specialist case, it was small businesses don't think they're vulnerable. So message number 1, we started, it was right before COVID broke out. And message number 1 was, if you're open for business, you're open for a business killing event. Well, we thought, oh my God, we've hit the bell, right? And then COVID happened and nobody was open. So we're like, oh shit. Sorry, we got to change the message hierarchy. So we went to a backup. Your business is under attack and you won't see it, but we will, was the backup message. Under attack, what? So yeah, that worked. You'll see it on, it's a little pop-up on the website.
Those messages or messaging is super important because it just reconfirms what your brand is, right? Because if you say your brand is one thing, and then all the stuff that you're posting, like things that you're putting on social media are completely in opposition to that, then you're confusing people. Right.
They get a new dog and they say, oh, I got this cute little dog and I'm on Facebook. You're like, why? If it doesn't have anything to do with what you stand for, actually, it's more granular and easier than that. If you know that you want to make certain impacts and you've written them down and you've gone through the process of saying, hey, in order to make those impacts, what characteristics must the brand be known for and get credit for, like visionary or client customer caring or process centric or whatever those characteristics are that you must get credit for to make those impacts, and then you can make them faster. We've written all those down looking at the impact statements, and then we prioritize the top 10. And the top 3 we call the top 3 impacts on first impression. So if you make first impression, like above the fold on the homepage, or on a piece of collateral material that you hand to somebody, or a testimonial that you helped write, or any that's first impression, even somebody telling somebody about it, you want to get credit for one of those or more of those top 3. So the message hierarchy. Message number 1 is overcome the barrier. Message number 2 is get credit for your number 1 category of expertise. And then 3 is your second category of expertise. And then it's the top 3 characteristics. So it's like you write a message hierarchy that says something with gravitas about the world, about the space, about your target and their life, because and in saying it the way you say it, you obviously get credit for that characteristic, for kindness, or for insightfulness, or for guiding, or for whatever those are. That's what you do, because the point is you've got to get credit for those things that you must get credit for. I know that my mom is an English teacher and she would say, Richard, you cannot define a word with itself. But seriously, you got to get credit for those characteristics or areas of expertise that you must get credit for to make your impacts. So get credit by you've got to get credit by taking credit, and you bake them in to the message hierarchy. It's like, well, that'll be a good one. Yeah, let's use Columbus. It's like so it's that the focus on impacts that you truly want to make is the aligning tool from that clarity. The focus is the clarity, and everything aligns after that. You just can't get off the track. Well, we know we need to get credit for our top 3 characteristics. I mean, it sounds formulaic. Everyone is different. If I did 3 financial advisors, they would all be different because they have different hearts.
Yes.
Hopefully they have hearts.
They have different styles. They have different, they have absolutely different, but you still have to, on every person that you work with, Rich, I would, assume it's getting clarity on those top three on those hierarchies.
Messaging. Let's take elevator speech. Everybody struggles with that. Can we do that?
Yeah, we got time. We got time for that. And then I want you to let people know how they can get in touch with you, how they can have a Zoom session with you, because I know right now people are going, I need to talk to this guy. So go ahead and do the elevator pitch. I love the elevator pitches.
Email and the word blueprint in the chat, so you have that, because that's the easiest way. People just link and literally talk to me. Yes. And I am available and accessible for that, as much as I should not be. Everybody says, don't do that. I do it anyway. Okay, so let's call him Frank, because hey, that's his name. He comes to me and he goes, I've been a financial advisor for 27 years. And they're trained by big companies to sell products. That probably doesn't happen in Australia. Okay, it does. But it certainly happens here. And I won't mention any names of the big, but you can smell them coming. You can see the logo. It's horizontal. There's usually two names. And you go, uh-oh, it's another one, right? Well, there are people who are diligent savers, and they save $100,000 or more a year. And they don't want to hand it to one of those guys because it might not come back. They'll put it in the market. They'll do whatever. They'll be, play the game, whatever. And they just don't want to do it. So they put it in a savings account, and then they get angry at themselves. And, okay. But then they're back to the work that made all the money in their. Okay. So those people are diligent savers. So Frank says to me, look, our industry, I don't want to do it that way anymore. I want to serve people at a higher level. So he comes to my 8-week, we did 7 days over 8 weeks. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Friday, Saturday, Friday, Saturday, 2 months apart, a month break. And all the work, impact statements, characteristics, categories of expertise, titles and subtitles of content, 15 or more titles and subtitles of content in each of the categories of expertise. Will take you out 3 or 4 years. All that work, messaging hierarchy, competitor analysis, all that work is done in 8 weeks. All of it's done. We were at day 4. And he comes in and I go, Frank, I've been thinking about what you told me about how you do prison ministry, 6 nights a month. So, wow, that's amazing. You live your faith like that. He goes, yeah, whatever. And I said, so I rewrote your elevator speech. Want to hear it? 27 years as a financial advisor. But I had listened to who he was and where life was going. And this work I do now, it takes businesses to higher levels and makes them more abundant. But remember the part about on purpose, that it kind of moves them to where they're going, because our lives aren't about our businesses. It's about why we were made and why we're here. So here we go. So I said, here you go, Frank. He goes, okay, what? So you're in an elevator, and you have a really nice tie on, and somebody goes, hey, Frank, nice tie, buddy. What do you do? Well, for years, I served as a financial advisor, and you know how many there are. Whoa. But I decided at a point, I wanted to serve people at a much higher level, particularly committed savers. And I created my own company called Safe Savings Options, using your money's power. And today, I serve people as a saver's wealth advocate. Does that help? Is that kind of language in the financial industry? You know what I'm saying?
Can I take you with me in an elevator next time?
You get me? It's like you realize it was just a linked together bunch of intangible brand promises that make her compelling. And if they're my target, they're going to go, hey, do you have a card?
Yeah. Instead of I'm a financial advisor.
Right after that, I said, and Frank, I named 3 books for you. I'm not writing any books. He said,
yes, you are. You're like, yes, you are.
Frank, let's not big, a book is a stake in the ground that moves the brand forward. Do you want to hear the titles?
Really quickly. Yes.
Yeah. So here's the first one. It says, from broke to 6 figures, steps to success in business and life. They
Nice.
don't even have to read the book. It says, I'm one of you.
Yes.
Now, if they open and they read the table of contents, they'll see things that are kind of life lessons, like the way not to talk to people, like lessons I learned, like don't do it the way I did. And then there's these little QR codes at the end of every chapter that are called the Frank Spotlight. And they can listen to him and he says, hey, you read in chapter 2. I'm really glad you're here because here's what I didn't put there that I want to tell you in person. And now they hear his heart. And at the end, he gives them a golden nugget. It's not a book about financial advisor. And there's some stuff in here about going up the mountain of wealth and down, and you need a different Sherpa to go down and up, and the up Sherpa doesn't tell you about what's going to happen when you go down. There's kind of wisdom like that people go, there's stuff I don't know. And that leads them to, maybe I ought to talk to Frank. But the book is not a pitch book, or it doesn't say like, hey, these are the stocks. It's like nothing like that. The second book is about what we interrupt in life that stops our flow. And we started by focusing on compound interest, uninterrupted compound interest that Einstein said is the 8th wonder of the world. But we got to 7 things to not interrupt: your health, integrity, your relationship, all those things that we like, I'll get back to my integrity after I make $1 million in this industry, that whatever. And then the third book is exactly where he's going. And it's called Doing Business with a Servant's Heart, the name above all names. And when I gave him that book title, he got tears in his eyes, and so did I, because that's why I do what I do now. It's not about branding. I am branding all day long. It's about impacts, abundance, on purpose, and getting into purpose. And it's about love. Praise God. Well, there's another one.
You did it.
Just saying.
Oh, I love having you on the show. You are welcome back anytime, Rich.
I have a book coming out a little later this year, earlier, okay. And I will definitely call you.
Okay, you definitely you need to like reach out to me, and we'll get you back on the show. My guest today has been Rich Kozak. And Rich, how can people get in touch with you? What's the best way?
The best way, you have two things you can get. I'm gonna give you my email address, and just get ready with the word blueprint. So my email is just rich@richbrands.org. So it's not difficult to spell, but I will spell it RICH@RICHBRANDS.org. Please don't forget the ORG part, and just say blueprint, and I will send you a copy of your impact-driven branding blueprint. You asked me before, what can people do like right now? That's the document that says, look, you can even close your eyes on these first 2 steps of the 7 steps that ensure your brand impacts people's lives in the world. You can close your eyes. So get the blueprint and go from there. The other thing is, there is a set of free videos, total 18 minutes. There's 8 of them. So 2 minutes, 3 minutes, at thebrandyouwillbecome.com. The brand YOU, the brand you will become.com. Just go there, type in your email, it'll send you a link, download them. And those answer in straight talk, not branding pablum or tricky and entrancing language or jargon like micro niche or all that kind of stuff that people say to make you think that you need some special wisdom. Branding is just a process. It is just, and it's straight answers to questions that you really want to ask, but maybe you don't have a branding guy to ask, or you really need to ask and hear the answers. And the answers are in straight talk, and it's not scripted. I am speaking right to the camera and answering the questions in straight talk. And it will be, I think, it will be a blessing to your business and possibly to your life.
Oh, nice. All right, Rich, thank you so much. We're going to put all those links to everything that you mentioned in the show notes, so people can just click on that. If you're watching on YouTube, of course, the show notes will have the links directly in there. Or if you're listening to your favorite podcast platform, be it Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We'll have the information in the show notes as well. Thank you again, Rich, so much for being on the show. Thank you, wonderful listeners and viewers and everyone who's catching this program. If you think that someone can benefit from this, and if you know of anyone in business, they can, please make sure that you share the show with them. Send them the link to listen to it. That would be awesome. If you want more information about this program, you can go to outoftheboxwithchristine.com. If you want more information about me and my coaching, you can always go to christineblasdale.com. I'm not going to spell that out for you. It'll be in the show notes as well. And until next time, as I always say, remember to think outside that damn box. Bye for now.